Welcome to Western Mass News Digital Edition. I'm Amanda Martin Ryan. More than 100 Holyoke residents are without homes right in the middle of holiday season. Two back-to-back fires left 3 apartment buildings uninhabitable. Now, these fires happened right before and during the first winter storm of the season. The first fire broke out at an apartment on Clemente Street on Monday. Then the following morning, crews battled flames at an apartment on High and Franklin Streets. One building was deemed a total loss from the fire, another uninhabitable due to water damage. Fortunately, no one was hurt in either fire. Both remain under investigation. Residents expressing frustrations over what they're calling improper snow removal on the roads after the first winter storm of the season here in Western Mass. Some roads were clear when our crews arrived today, but others, like French Street, a different story. This is in Springfield. Now, this roadway was fine on one side, but you can see the other side was just filled with both snow and ice. The Department of Public Works is in charge of clearing the roadways, and they note that they clear the main roads before the side streets. In the meantime, residents are hoping for better results after the next snowstorm. Springfield DPW says you should call 311 if you are dealing with a snow-related situation. The suspect in custody from a high-speed car chase last month will be held without the right to bail. A judge made that decision today during a dangerousness hearing. On November 5th, police were trying to pull 37-year-old Carlos Maldonado over in West Springfield, but he took off, hitting a police car, then driving the wrong way before crashing head-on into another car, leaving a mother in critical condition. After that, he tried to run away, but was caught. 3 officers were hurt and taken to the hospital. Across the border to Connecticut, Enfield police need your help finding a missing man. This is 20-year-old Julius Stokinis. Officers found his car burned just outside of Scantic River State Park in Enfield, which was closed yesterday as law enforcement carried out a large search effort. The park is back open today as authorities are continuing to search the area and the area around it. If you know anything about Julius, call Enfield or East Windsor, Connecticut police.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. The time right now is 3:33. A much calmer day today, nicer day today. Starting off this morning, of course, with icy, slippery roads, but conditions improving with decent amount of sunshine and some melting, at least a little bit of melting snow and ice. So obviously roads are much better as the day has gone on. But do watch out for some refreeze, right? A little bit of melting, and now temperatures are going to be slipping back below freezing. So sidewalks, side roads, untreated surfaces might get a little slick as you're out and about this evening. Of course, main arteries are fine. Arctic blast, though, is on the way. It's going to come in tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night, and into Friday. Below zero wind chills tomorrow night and into Friday morning. And temperatures moderate as we head for the weekend. So it's an Arctic blast, but at least it's a quick hitter. I think the core of the cold is tomorrow evening through Friday. By Saturday afternoon, it should feel more comfortable. Temperatures now are generally in the upper 20s and lower 30s. We're headed for the upper teens and lower 20s by morning. Just a few high-level clouds that are out there now. You can see in your 24, some patchy clouds overnight, but no storms or anything like that. In fact, it looks like skies will, for the most part, clear out as we go through the day tomorrow. Then we'll have those snow showers. I didn't put any pause points in here, but we could have a snow shower or a snow squall tomorrow afternoon and evening that could whiten the ground in a few spots, reduce visibilities. That's kind of like when a thunderstorm comes through. You get a quick downpour or a rumble of thunder. Not that we're expecting thunderstorms, but that's the leading edge of colder air that comes in. And look at our readings now. Late Thursday night and Friday morning, actual air temperatures down into the single digits. You couple that with winds gusting over 30, it is going to feel like it is below zero. So bitterly cold stuff here late tomorrow night, and into Friday. It looks like that wind will back off pretty quickly on Friday, but highs only in the low to mid 20s. Highs tomorrow afternoon before the front comes through, middle and upper 30s, and then we'll have that quick snow shower or perhaps that quick snow squall. So tomorrow afternoon, no problems, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. I mean, we'll have a little bit of a breeze making it feel a little bit colder, but then the winds pick up as we go into the evening, and those wind chills will drop. Winds will gust up over 30 miles per hour, and by tomorrow evening, already wind chills are in the single digits and single digits below zero by the time we get to Friday morning. Friday itself, the wind will lighten up pretty quickly here but it's cold. Highs make it into the lower 20s, and wind chills will still be in the single digits on Friday. So low to mid 20s on Friday, but the breeze does relax as the day goes on. And we have a weak system coming through Friday night into Saturday with maybe a snow shower. Behind that, we actually moderate as we go into the weekend. We're back into the mid 30s, which is still below normal, but of course it's not that Arctic cold. So with the Arctic cold coming in tomorrow night into Friday morning, both late Thursday and then early Friday are first alert weather days. But Saturday and Sunday, moderating temperatures. Another front comes through, an Arctic blast Sunday into Monday, with temperatures only in the teens and lower 20s. So as you can see, temperatures are going to be at or below normal the next 10 days. Normal high this time of year should still be in the lower 40s. But no big snowstorms are indicated, at least at this point. All right, that's your forecast. We'll see you at 4 o'clock. Amanda, back over to you.
All right, Dan, thank you. The 5 finalists who have the chance to be inducted into the National Football Hall of Fame have been announced. 2 of the nominees are very familiar to us here in New England. Patriots CEO and Chairman Robert Kraft, along with former coach Bill Belichick, are both still in the running. The 2, along with quarterback Tom Brady, were instrumental in the Patriots' 2 decades of dominance from 2001 to 2019. The Pro Football Hall of Fame for the 2026 year will be announced on February 5th. That's all the time we have for today. Thanks for watching today's Western Mass News Digital Edition. And be sure to tune in to Western Mass News at 4 on ABC 40 coming up soon.